MSW Media.
News with swearing. Daily beans, daily beans. Daily beans, daily beans.
Hello and welcome to the Daily Beans for Monday, December 15th, 2025. Today, a mass shooting at Brown University leaves multiple dead and wounded. Another 15 people were killed at Bondi Beach in Sydney, Australia in a mass shooting. TSA is providing air passenger data to ICE. A gun-toting Border Patrol thug is exposed as a racist online troll. The House Oversight Committee has released a new batch of photos from the Epstein estate. Trump allies pressured Romania into lifting travel restrictions on the Tate brothers. The deeply personal reasons that Indiana Republicans pushed back against Trump. Colorado has rejected the president's pardon of election thief Tina Peters. Marjorie Taylor Greene is going to try to oust Mike Johnson as the speaker. Republicans in the House defy Trump and vote with Democrats to restore bargaining rights for federal workers. Abrego Garcia remains a free man after the Trump administration tried to issue a retroactive deportation order. Trump judges have once again blocked Judge Boasberg's contempt proceedings. A judge orders Dan Richman's emails at the core of the Comey case be returned to him. And House Democrats will ask for the release of Volume 2 of Jack Smith's final report. I'm Allison Gill.
And I'm Dana Goldberg.
All right, another record-breaking weekend of headlines, my friend.
Indeed. And I don't know about you, it normally happens a couple weeks from now. I'm starting to get to that point where I don't know the date or what day of the week it is. It's like, I feel like this is the month of that black hole of nobody knows. And normally it happens 2 weeks from now, but I'm starting to sort of sift into it.
Yeah, I'm wondering if I'm going to permanently be there at some point. Because
it's possible.
The window keeps getting bigger.
That's true.
When I don't know what today is. If it weren't for my handy dandy, telephone telling me that.
Yeah, no kidding.
Today is December 15th. I wouldn't know. All right, there is so much news. We're going to do the show a little different today. We're going to have to do a lightning round so we can get as much news into your ears as possible. So let's get to it and hit the hot notes. Hot notes. All right, first up from NBC, 2 people were killed and 9 others wounded in a shooting at an engineering and physics building on Brown University's campus in Providence, Rhode Island. Officials emphasize the investigation is moving quickly with evidence being collected by multiple agencies, but they are not yet confirming details that could compromise the case, except for the president, of course, coming out and saying they had somebody in custody when they didn't. Police say a person of interest, a male in his 20s, was eventually detained and could face charges in the next few hours. And Dana, we went to bed thinking about a mass shooting and woke up to another one. We woke up to the mass shooting in Sydney, Australia.
Yeah.
The death toll of that shooting at a celebration marking the first night of Hanukkah rose to 15 on Monday morning. The authorities described the attack, which they said was carried out by a father and son, as an act of terrorism. The New South Wales police said more than 36 more remained hospitalized following the attack on Bondi Beach, one of Sydney's most famous destinations. Victims ranged in age from 10 years old to 87. Now, as it stands now, Dana, 1 gunman is dead, the other is in critical condition. And Reuters reported that a bystander captured on video tackled and disarmed one of the shooters during Sunday's deadly attack at Bondi Beach. And he's been hailed a hero whose actions definitely saved lives. Footage circulating on social media shows a man named by local media as 43-year-old Muslim fruit shop owner Ahmed Al-Ahmed in a car park wearing a white shirt, charging at a man in a dark shirt who was holding a rifle. He then tackles the armed man from behind, wrenching the rifle from him with his hands before pointing the gun back at the shooter. He could have shot the gunman, but he didn't. And keep in mind, Australia, there's going to be arguments. Oh, I thought Australia had great gun laws. They don't work. Australia has had 35 mass shooting deaths in the past decade, whereas America, we've had 5,500.
5,500. And from what I understand, Ahmed was wounded by the other terrorist. He is being treated for his wounds, but he helped save what could have been an even more disastrous massacre. He literally charged him while the gunman was firing still into this crowd. It's a horrific anti-Semitic shooting. And on the obviously this one has me a little bit shaken for obvious reasons. The anti-Semitism in this world and in this country is rising. It continues to rise. No thanks to this administration, as well as other administrations that are supposed to be protecting Jewish people around the world. So,
yeah, agreed.
My thoughts are with the Australian people, the Jewish community specifically around the world as well. And I'm wishing all of you who are listening and celebrate a peaceful celebration of lights. And I hope it is a joyous one, despite how this has been starting. One of our allies down under. So, Allison, thank you for that story. All right, this next one's from the Times. President Trump's pledge to pardon Tina Peters, a former Colorado County clerk convicted of tampering with voting machines, touched off a new battle on Friday over the fate of perhaps the last high-profile 2020 election denier still behind bars. Democratic leaders in Colorado dismissed the pardon as an empty attempt to bully a Democratic state into freeing one of the president's political allies. They argued that Mr. Trump had no legal power to overturn Ms. Peters' conviction in a state court. A state court. So there's no legal merit here. This is from Attorney General Phil Weiser of Colorado. He happens to be a Democrat. He said that in an interview on Friday. And he wanted to say he is continuing to escalate out of desperation. This is from Colorado's Democratic Secretary of State, Gina Griswold. Although the Supreme Court has expanded some of Trump's powers, broadly protecting him from prosecution for official acts as president, and agreed to hear a case over whether he can strip birthright citizenship from the children of immigrants, Mr. Reiser said he did not see any credible legal argument for Mr. Trump's pardon of Ms. Peters. He said, "We're ready to go before a court on this. Our position is as strong and clear as any constitutional case I can imagine."
Yeah,
I love that. Good for them.
I figured he would try to, because he kept calling for her release. I figured he'd try to pardon her and see if he could take this up to his pals at the Supreme Court to expand his pardon power to state crimes. Good luck. Now, the reasons that Indiana senators defied Donald Trump on redistricting are becoming clear, and they're deeply personal in some instances. Now, we know about Senator Bohasek and his anger with Trump for using the R slur to describe Tim Walz because Bohasek has a daughter with Down syndrome. In another instance, Dana, Jean Leising said that all the members of her grandson's basketball team had received horrible text messages about his grandma, and that ultimately led her to oppose the president. Greg Walker was targeted by swatting attempts, and he felt that giving in would reward Trump's horrible bullying behavior. Greg Good said it was the violent threats that pushed him over the edge. Sue Glick also cited the bullying by Trump and noted that her discussions with J.D. Vance and Mike Johnson were very respectful, but Trump's rhetoric has to be nipped in the bud. Now, Dana, it's fascinating that it was the bullying and not the policy that led to the maps being defeated.
Absolutely.
And that doesn't bode well for Trump's brand of politics, especially going into the midterms. Dana, a lot of these Republicans weren't necessarily against the gerrymander.
Yeah.
It was the bullying. But, they'd also cited, all of these senators at one point or another cited that the fact that their constituents didn't want this either. So partially the politics, but mostly he's a dick.
Yeah. I love that they're calling him out on this too. And there's still some parts of this that all the guardrails haven't broken off. That's all I'm trying to say. Now, there's even more fracturing in the Republican Party, which I'd love to see. Now, this comes from the Associated Press. Nearly 24 House Republicans joined Democrats Thursday to pass a bill that would restore collective bargaining rights for hundreds of thousands of federal employees, an attempt to overturn an executive order that Trump issued earlier this year. The measure passed 231 to 195 after reaching the floor through a bipartisan maneuver that bypassed GOP leadership, a so-called discharge tactic that is being used with growing frequency as Republicans see the over-dysfunction in the chamber. The bill still needs Senate approval to become law, but 20 Republicans sided with Democrats in a rare break from the president. The executive order that Trump issued in March aimed to end collective bargaining for employees of agencies with national security missions across the federal government. He said he had the authority, remember, to revoke the rights under a 1978 law.
Mm-hmm. He did it in his first term, too. Yeah. And again, this is Republicans who have to get reelected, or at least try to get reelected this coming year. saying,
I think they're seeing what's happening in these districts and these massive swings. And they're like, shit, no one's safe right now.
yeah, even if you've got a 10, 12, 13 point, red district.
Yeah.
So, Trump doesn't have to get reelected again. All these Republicans they did a discharge petition to go around Mike Johnson. They really are mad at Mike Johnson right now, which brings me to this next story from MSNOW. They're reporting that Marjorie Taylor Greene might be resigning from Congress next month, but she's weighing one last act of defiance, a long shot bid to topple Speaker Mike Johnson. In recent days, the controversial Georgia Republican has been working behind the scenes to gauge whether there's support for a motion to vacate the chair. That's according to 3 sources familiar with her efforts who spoke on the condition of anonymity. She's trying to whip votes to vacate Mike Johnson's speakership.
And even if this causes a bunch of infighting, bring it on.
Especially if it causes a bunch of infighting. I love this for them. So under the House rules, under the McCarthy rules, they only had to have 1 vote to trigger a motion to vacate. But under the new House rules adopted at the beginning of this year, they need 9 Republicans to trigger such a vote. And Greene is trying to figure out who might be willing to sign on. Quote, Marjorie is approaching members to get 9 who will oust the speaker. That's one of the sources. And if we don't get to work on codifying Trump's agenda, anything can happen. Now, it's a long shot, as admitted by all 3 of these sources. But I think the real story here, there's more cracks in the dam. And the fact that she's going around trying to whip votes to vacate Mike Johnson, it brings me joy. Not her. She's terrible.
Awful. Yeah. Even these semblances with the Epstein thing, it doesn't make her a good person. She's still a horribly transphobic piece of crap. So there's that.
Yeah, she just tried to pass a bill, another anti-trans bill, to get a provision. And, she comes out and some Republicans are all, ooh, this is interesting. And then bam, she just shows her true colors again. Like the tent's big, Dana, but it ain't that big.
No. And theirs is a circus tent. So this one's from NBC. Democrats on the House Oversight Committee on Friday released a second batch of images from the late convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein's estate. The images include pictures of Epstein with a number of high-profile figures, including President Donald Trump, longtime Trump ally Steve Bannon, former President Bill Clinton, former Clinton Treasury Secretary Larry Summers, Microsoft co-founder Bill Gates, movie director Woody Allen, no surprise there, billionaire entrepreneur Richard Branson, and prominent attorney Allen, I kept my underwear on Dershowitz. They do not appear to be showing illegal activity by anybody in these photos. However, on Friday evening, House Democrats said they released another batch of more than 70 images, including the release was a photo of Epstein in a bubble bath with a curtain partly drawn. Gross. Another photo showed a massage machine. Many of the additional images released Friday evening did not include photos of people. And I saw some of them. They're disgusting. Yeah. The deadline of the Department of Justice to release the Epstein files is still coming on. It is December 19th.
Yeah. And, I saw Rep Garcia and Rep Massey talking about how they got 90,000 photos in this dump. They've released like 100. And they say there are extremely disturbing photos, including child sexual assault material.
Ugh.
And what I'd like, now I know you can't release or mass disseminate child sexual assault material. You can't release those photos. But I would like to hear a description of them. I would like to hear, we have a photo of Prince Andrew, molesting a minor who we've identified at the time as being a child. Or, describe them. You don't have to show them to me.
Right.
But I think the MO here, Dana, is for them to start, like they started with the most banal photos. Yeah. They have 90,000 of these. And as the year goes on toward the midterms, they're going to continue to release or talk about worse and worse and worse evidence from the Epstein estate. So we'll see what happens. Next up from The Guardian, Democrats on the House Judiciary Committee on Friday, they're going to ask, or maybe they have already, Judge Eileen Cannon. They're going to ask her. This is the judge who presided over the case against Trump for hiding the classified documents and retaining them and obstructing justice and, trying to flood the server room to delete videos of them obstructing justice, obstructing their obstruction. It's like a turducken of obstruction. And they're going to urge Eileen Cannon to release Volume 2 of Jack Smith's report. Now, Smith is scheduled to appear next week, this coming week, for a behind-closed-door deposition with Republican-led committee, the Judiciary Committee, where he may discuss the investigation into allegations that Trump took classified materials to his property and then hid them from federal authorities, and then lied to federal authorities about it multiple times, and then obstructed the lying. It's just he was guilty as fuck. The special counsel dropped that case against Trump, as well as another concerning his meddling in the 2020 election. Meddling in the 2020 election? That's an interesting way of saying insurrection.
Yeah.
In the aftermath of his re-election victory. Re-election victory? Oh, last year. Okay. I was like, he didn't win in 2020. What's going on, Guardian? Okay. Now, Cannon earlier this year ruled that the classified documents portion of Smith's report stay unreleased. She ruled that in January 21st, as a matter of fact, citing the ongoing proceedings against the co-defendants, Walt Nauta and Carlos de Oliveira. However, Attorney General Pam Bondi dropped those charges earlier this year in February, and in a motion to Cannon shared with The Guardian, the Democrats will argue that there is now no reason to keep the second portion of Smith's report from being released. And of course, the Knight Institute of Columbia University has also done the same thing, and the 11th Circuit Court of Appeals has given Cannon until January 2nd to rule on their motion to release this report. Quote, the rationale of the court's prior order thus no longer applies. The criminal proceedings have been dismissed, and the House Judiciary Committee has proceeded with a formal investigation into special counsel's operations. Now, I think my favorite part of this is that, they're arguing this is an ongoing case. We can't put stuff out about it. And the Democrats are like, yeah, but then you're interviewing Jack Smith about it behind closed doors this week. So that kind of waives that excuse.
They usually step on their own. We'll say tie this time.
Tie.
Okay. This one's from the Times. This next story, the Trump administration is providing the names of all air travelers to immigration officials, substantially expanding its use of data sharing to expel people under deportation orders. Under the previously undisclosed program, the Transportation Security Administration provides a list of multiple times a week to immigration and customs enforcement of travelers who will be coming through airports. ICE can then match the list against its own database of people subject to deportation and send agents to the airport to detain these people. This is going to be a fucking disaster because there's too many American citizens right now that have phones and that are up in arms about this. This is going to be a mess. A mess. It's unclear how many arrests have been made as a result of the collaboration. But documents obtained by the New York Times show that it's led to the arrest of Ana Lucia Lopez Bayoza, the college student picked up at Boston Logan Airport on November 20th and deported to Honduras 2 days later. A former ICE official said 75% of instances in that official's region were names that were flagged by the program yielding arrests. Now, ICE has historically avoided interfering with domestic travel, but the partnership between airport security and the immigration agency, which began quietly in March, is the latest way the Trump administration is increasing cooperation and information sharing between the federal agencies in service of the president's goal of carrying out the largest deportation campaign in U.S. history, which he is failing at. The Trump administration has tried to leverage other databases to track down immigrants it wants to detain or deport, including IRS, which earlier this year agreed to hand over the addresses of migrants to ICE. A federal court blocked the effort in November. And if these people are mooching off our system, why the fuck are you using IRS? Because, they're working and paying taxes.
Yeah. Man, this is just so dystopian.
Yeah, it really is.
It's to use like traveler information. That's such an invasion of privacy. It's so gross.
Yeah. And
they're using facial recognition software. And then if you're traveling from an allied country, they're going to go through 5 years of your social media history. It's just, talk about Big Brother. Like, where are all the Republicans that are like, stop spying on me? I guess they only care if they're spying on senators,
Yeah, no kidding.
Senators who broke the law. But it seems as though Trump and Stephen Miller are now at odds because the mass deportation program is polling very, very poorly. Currently, only 38% approve of Trump's handling of immigration. That's according to the latest Associated Press poll. Fox News reported on Saturday that the Department of Homeland Security is amending its immigration enforcement. Fox News says that the DHS is amending, they're pivoting by moving away from raids targeting all illegal immigrants and focusing more on the ones who've committed serious offenses, which is an admission that they haven't been doing that. Teams under U.S. Border Patrol Commander at Large Gregory Bovino will shift their focus to specific targets, including illegal immigrants who've been convicted of serious crimes. News Nation. This is from News Nation, which, because it's Fox and News Nation, I have serious doubts. And speaking of Gregory Bovino, the Daily Beast reports that a Border Patrol agent who allegedly threatened to shoot a bystander during an arrest is behind a social media account rife with racist, sexist, and anti-LGBTQ posts.
Shocking.
Who would have guessed? Timothy Donahue is his name. Name him and shame him. He's 38. He was a member of lead commander Gregory Bovino's marauding so-called Green Army during Operation Midway Blitz in Chicago, part of Trump's immigration crackdown. Donahue was cited, though not by name, in a blistering opinion by U.S. District Judge Sarah Ellis after he was filmed threatening someone watching an arrest in Evanston. Posting on Twitter as Timothy Bunch of Numbers, Donahue, who has claimed on the platform that he previously worked as a paramedic, which he also repeated during the violent arrest cited by Judge Ellis, has, over the past 4 years, endorsed or amplified white supremacist, racist, misogynistic, and homophobic content. Donahue, who got married in Ohio in 2011, according to public records, also posted about women. When a Twitter user asked in September 2023 if America would be better off if women couldn't vote, Donahue said yes. The following month, he wrote wood chipper under a photo of a drag queen speaking to a child. That followed a post in March that year when he replied good to a story about fear in the trans community after the Nashville school shooting. So just
sounds like a big piece of shit.
Yeah, so we got domestic violence people, just all these criminals and they're supposed to be targeting criminals, and they themselves are criminals.
Yep. Worse than 80 to 90% of the people that they've tried to detain. This one is also from the Times. We've got a lot here. Turns out the Trump administration helped lift the travel ban on the Tate brothers. Now, we've known about this and them protecting these two pieces of shit. After Mr. Trump's reelection, some of the Tate's supporters ascended into the new administration. One of them, the diplomatic envoy Richard Grenell, twice discussed their case with Romanian officials. Within days of the second conversation, the Romanian prosecutors received their marching orders and handed the Tates the freedom to travel. After long arguing that the brothers were a public danger and a flight risk, the prosecutors were outraged, according to people familiar with the matter who requested anonymity because they were not authorized to discuss. Andrew Tate also nurtured relationships with Trump Jr., Don Jr., and his younger brother Barron, who recognized the role that young male voters could play in their father's return to power. Barron, now 19, admired Andrew. That's fucking horrifying statement, and spoke with him over Zoom last year, according to Justin Waller, a mutual friend who was on the call. During the call, they discussed their shared belief that the Romanian criminal case was an effort to silence the Tates. When Andrew texted in January that the Trump administration was on top of things, he didn't name names, but several of his supporters have found roles in incoming government. Paul Ingracia, who was initially named White House liaison to the Justice Department, has once been part of the Tate's legal team. Alina Habba, a counselor and the president who would later serve a brief stint as New Jersey's top prosecutor, told Andrew on a podcast in January, "I got your back over here." February 25th, the Tates officially requested to have their travel restrictions removed. In the early hours of February 27th, the brothers drove to the airport, as documented in a video titled, and I quote, "The Tate Escape." They beamed at each other as the plane took off to Florida. When asked that day whether the Trump administration had aided the Tates' release, their lawyer, Mr. McBride, told the Times, "Do the math. These guys are on the plane."
Yeah, apparently flying to Florida to meet with Donald Trump.
Yep.
And that's when the story that we had covered before was when they landed, their devices were confiscated, and it was Paul Ingracia who got them returned to them. Ugh. All right, next. Yeah, the Barron Trump thing is creepy.
Yep.
Next up from the Times, a federal appeals court in Washington on Friday temporarily put a hold on a looming contempt investigation into whether the Trump administration willfully violated a judge's order directing officials to stop flights of Venezuelan immigrants from being sent to El Salvador, Seacoast Prison, in March. The single-page decision by a three-judge panel of the U.S. Court of Appeals for the District of Columbia came in response to a belligerently worded request by the DOJ asking the court to shut down the contempt proceedings. The appellate panel ruling gave no hint about how it may ultimately handle the high-stakes contempt proceeding, because this isn't the merits. This is just an administrative stay while they contemplate further. But it would almost certainly grant the administration a reprieve from having one of its top immigration lawyers have to take the witness stand next week and answer questions about his role in conveying to senior officials the order by the judge, James Boasberg, to stop the deportation flights. So this is the same three-judge panel that initially vacated Boasberg's contempt determination, but the en banc court sent it back and revived the contempt proceedings. So we may see an en banc appeal here, depending on what this three-judge panel decides. But they could sit on this decision for a really long time and postpone this contempt proceeding for a considerable amount of time. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Allison. All right. And from the jurist, U.S. District Judge Policinis issued a temporary restraining order blocking Immigration and Customs Enforcement from detaining Kilmar Abrego Garcia again, pending further hearings. The TRO came only a few hours after Judge Zini's ordered Abrego Garcia's release from ICE custody in Pennsylvania. In the TRO, Judge Zini wrote, Abrego Garcia will suffer irreparable harm absent emergency relief. It is beyond dispute that unlawful detention visits irreparable harm. She added, because respondents have no statutory authority to remove Abrego Garcia to a third country absent a removal order, his removal cannot be considered reasonably foreseeable, imminent, or consistent with due process. Abrego Garcia was scheduled to check in with ICE in Baltimore on Friday morning. His attorneys petitioned Judge Zini's for the TRO because they expected ICE to rearrest him if he went to check in. Abrego Garcia stated through a translator on Friday, I stand here today with my head held high. I will continue to fight and stand firm against all the injustices this government has done upon me. Regardless of this administration, I believe this is a country of laws, and I believe that this injustice will come to an end. Amazing. After everything he's been through, he's like, I don't fault this country. I fault this administration as it should be. Well said.
Yeah. And by the way, the Trump administration went to that hand-picked immigration judge. The immigration judges, by the way, work for Trump, not for the judiciary, and got that immigration judge to issue a retroactive deportation order, citing it being a scrivener's error, which is usually reserved for correcting a typo, not creating a deportation order when one never existed. And that judge, because Abrego Garcia tried to reopen his asylum case with that judge, and that judge shut him down, and Abrego appealed to the Board of Immigration, and that court has jurisdiction now. So the judge that tried to corruptly, issue this retroactive deportation order didn't even have jurisdiction to do it. It's just so corrupt and gross. And that's why Judge Zini stepped in and said, hands off. And he did check in Friday morning, and he walked out a free man.
Good.
All right, everybody, we've got some good news to get to. Listener submitted good news. If you have good news, you can send it to us at dailybeanspod.com and click on contact. We'll be right back with it. Stick around.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
DeleteMe makes it easy, quick, and safe to remove your personal data online at a time when surveillance and data breaches are common enough to make everyone vulnerable. We want to thank our sponsor for today's episode, DeleteMe. With DeleteMe, I protect both my personal privacy and the privacy of my business. As someone with a very active online presence, my privacy is a very high priority. I keep seeing headlines where hackers grab names, addresses, phone numbers, dox people. They get the last 4 digits of your social security numbers. Then data brokers vacuum up all that information, package it, and sell it to the highest bidder. Your data becomes a commodity. You are the product, and anyone on the web can buy private details that should never be public. That is how you end up dealing with more phishing attempts, spam, identity theft, harassment. It's just, you got to protect yourself, and DeleteMe helps close that door. Data brokers can compile your name, contact info, home address, information about your family members, and list it across multiple sites for sale. But DeleteMe's team does the work of fighting back. New York Times Wirecutter named DeleteMe their top pick for data removal services, which matters when you're trying to choose who to trust with something this sensitive. For me, the value is peace of mind and all the time I save trying to remove the information myself. It is like a game of whack-a-mole, but the DeleteMe people are experts. I can stay visible now while keeping my most personal details from being easy to find, buy, and misuse. So take control of your data and keep your private life private by signing up for DeleteMe. Now at a special discount for listeners, get 20% off your DeleteMe plan when you go to joindeleteme.com/dailybeans and use promo code dailybeans at checkout. Again, the only way to get 20% off is to go to joindeleteme.com/dailybeans and enter code dailybeans at checkout. That's joindeleteme.com/dailybeans, code dailybeans. All right, everybody, it's time to talk about my favorite subscription service. This holiday season is going to be packed with get-togethers and family gatherings, and I just don't have the bandwidth to get trapped in the wine aisle trying to choose what to get. But Naked Wines ships great bottles to my door so I can focus on food and music and guests instead of the guesswork. Naked Wines is a service that directly connects you to the world's finest independent winemakers so you can get really delicious award-winning wine delivered straight to your door. So let's thank Naked Wines for supporting our show. Go to nakedwines.com/dailybeans and use code dailybeans for the code and the password and get their incredible deal of 6 bottles for just $39.99. We recently opened a bottle of Katoria Shiraz. This is a 2020 grape. It's amazing. The South African Shiraz is bold. It's rich. It's got a taste with some like blackberries, notes of plum, coffee, and a touch of black pepper, which really grounds it, gives it that earthy flavor. It was the perfect match for the meal, and it's a new favorite on the table. I love Naked Wines because it takes the guesswork out of hosting. The wine is genuinely amazing, and it feels good knowing that Naked Wines has been around for over 15 years and funds over 90 independent winemakers. For me, that mission matters. I also rate the bottles after we open them, so each delivery is better than the last. It's hassle-free, no commitments, no contracts. I just end up with bottles that actually match what my guests enjoy. So now is the time to join the Naked Wines community. Head to nakedwines.com/dailybeans, click enter voucher, and put in my code dailybeans, all one word, for the code and the password for 6 bottles of wine for just $39.99 with shipping included. That's $100 off your first 6 bottles at nakedwines.com/dailybeans and use code and password dailybeans for 6 bottles of wine for $39.99. You'll be glad you did. Everybody, welcome back. It's time for the good news.
Who likes good news, everyone? Then good news, everyone.
Good news, good news. Boy, do we need your good news now more than ever. Any little bit of good news, it can be big, it can be small, it could have happened yesterday, maybe 10 years ago, maybe 25 years ago. Whatever wonderful story that will bring smiles to many faces that you want to share, we would love to hear it. We also love to hear shout outs to loved ones or yourself or small businesses in your area or a nonprofit or some great community organizing or a government program that's helped you or a loved one. We love to hear all of your good news. You can send us your favorite joke, favorite dad jokes, favorite puns. Maybe you've got a limerick about Donald Trump not being able to indict Letitia James. I know that's very specific, but someone asked me for one the other day, so I obliged. But you can send it all to us at dailybeanspod.com and click on contact. And all you got to do to get your submission read on the air, including your good trouble recommendations, is to submit your pod pet tariff, which means attach a photo of your pet. If you don't have that, any picture will do. You can send an adoptable pet in your area. You can send a random photo of an animal on the internet. You can send a bird watching photo, which can be a bird, or you flipping the bird to a Trump building. You can send photos of rallies you've been to with some great signs or overpass protests or what your holiday decorations look like or what you dressed up for Halloween as. Maybe you have some baby pictures. Anything at all will do. Send it to us, dailybeanspod.com, and click on contact. All right, first up is our good trouble. And this comes from Passed Off in Palm Beach. I think it might be Pissed Off in Palm Beach, but we'll see. So this is a call for good trouble, and it's time sensitive, everyone. Project 2025 implementation has progressed to gut the Equal Credit Opportunity Act, the ECOA. This is a path to strip more rights from women and minorities. It was the early 70s before women could get loans or have credit cards in their own name. Screw these weird people who want women to be married and pumping out kids and not be able to own anything and ensure non-white people are not treated equally. And I'd like to add, by the way, Pissed Off in Palm Beach, they're trying to take away no-fault divorce as well. The public comment period ends at 11:59 p.m. Eastern today, Monday, December 15th. So we're going to put a link in the show notes for your public comments. And for my pet tax, this is Gabby, the original punk rock Shih Tzu. Oh, I lost her a few months ago, but she was kicking butt and taking names until the very end. My personal little Viking shield maiden, all 9 pounds of her. Look at her little Misfits denim jacket and her little plaid skirt.
So cute.
Oh, I love this pupper. Thank you, Pissed Off in Palm Beach, for that good trouble.
I had a feeling I was going to get a correction. I appreciate this. This is from Andrea, pronouns she and her. Pronunciation correction. Houghton, I'm learning it's Houghton County in the city in Michigan's UP is pronounced Houghton. Ho, like Santa's chortle, and ton, like 2,000 pounds. Houghton. Love the show. Thanks for being a part of keeping me sane in the madness. My pod pet tax is our pandemic medical foster, Prozac Pressa Princess, and my first foster failure in over 30 years of Molosser Rescue. She was taken in by Detroit Anti-Cruelty on the brink of death. Macomb County Humane Society accepted her and saved her life with excellent medical care. Oh my God, look at this baby. She was so deeply emotionally damaged that we feared she either would be unadoptable or further damaged in the wrong hands. As sadly, pero de presa canaracios are often adopted by people for the wrong reasons. So we stunned MCHS and adopted her ourselves with lots of love. She's now a mostly functional dog. She sure is cute.
I wonder if the Perro de Presa Canarios, is that a breed?
Canarios.
I guess it's a breed. I guess it's a breed of dog, but another beautiful brindle.
The dog's a Presa, yeah.
Oh. Well, Andrea or Andrea, I'm not sure how to pronounce your name. Maybe you can send us another correction. Like often
and all the 5 corrections on my Spanish as well.
But I would love to know how it's going with this beautiful baby's behavior. All right, next up from Kim, pronoun she and her, another pronunciation correction. My favorite Jackie and the Beanstalk Talkers. My favorite queer cousin recommended this daily news show to me many moons ago, and I finally got a chance to listen regularly. Although I don't catch every episode, I try to always tune into the good news segments, and you make the bad news, the regular news, more tolerable with your quick wit and fucking fucks. Slight correction from Friday's good news. Pasty is pronounced, pasty, not pasty. They're delicious and amazing, unlike pasties that cover up something delicious and amazing. Badumts. Pasties go over your nipples when you dance. Attached is a photo of my 17-month-old daughter, spouse, and myself dressed up for Halloween. I love Halloween pictures. Can you guess what we are? Please don't say Jurassic World. Mom brag here. She has just learned 50 words, and I'm amazed at her genius every day. We asked her what she wanted to be for Halloween, and she just held up her dino stuffy and said, "Rawr."
Aww.
We made Daddy's dream come true, and we didn't need the rawr voice box her costume came with. Okay.
Oh my gosh, she's cute.
So we got, it's Jurassic Park, right? Not Jurassic World. Am I getting it right? I don't want to offend anyone, but yeah, look at the little thing on the wagon, Jurassic Park.
Oh gosh, so cute.
Oh my, that dinosaur. Can I have one? Do they make that for adults?
All right, this is from John, pronounce he, him. I proudly wear my Portland inflatable frog hat. It says resist on the back when I'm out and about. It gets lots of smiles and thumbs up and only rarely a negative reaction. My daughter in Tucson took in a cuter than hell young mutt that was apparently abandoned at her property. Has a pug face, but a little larger than typical. He's healthy and chipped, but not registered. Personal issues prevent her from keeping it. She would like to avoid turning it over to the county. If you're interested in adopting this pup or knowing any more, we have a link in the show notes to connect you with John. The pup is in Tucson. There is a form, and the pup is super cute. It almost looks like a pug pitty, like a pug boxer.
Yeah, or a pug Boston, or like a...
Yeah.
Oh, this
That's
is a long-legged
cute.
pug, is what this is. Oh, adorable. Thank you for that adoptable pet. And thanks for letting us know about your inflatable frog hat. Oh, it's not an inflatable hat. It's just a frog hat. Absolutely love it.
Yeah.
It's a hat with an inflatable frog on it. Next up from Denise, pronoun she and her. First, thank you so much for the invaluable service that you do with this podcast. You create community in a fractured time and provide clarity in the chaos, along with some much needed swearing. I want to give a huge shout out to my amazing brother, Dylan, who on September 17th left Olympia, Washington to embark on a cross-country bike ride for justice in honor and remembrance of his childhood neighbor and friend, Rachel Corrie. Rachel was a peace activist who, in 2003, was crushed by a bulldozer while protesting the Israeli military's demolition of Palestinian houses in Gaza. Oh my God. Dylan's goal has been to amplify her message and raise funds for the foundation that was established in her name, in addition to protesting corruption and injustice and prompting peace and justice here and around the world. After almost 3 months on the road, Dylan is now in the final push of his journey, just days away from his destination, Washington, D.C., and I could not be more proud and inspired. We will have a link to the Rachel Corrie Foundation in the show notes, and you can follow Dylan's ride at DLNVNS. I'm sharing our 2 rescue pups, Luna, who's 4, and Lily's, who's 7, who are best friends and equal parts derpy, goofy, loving, and joyful.
They're sure cute.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. Oh, they are derpy and joyful and loving little hams, and they love a camera, Denise. Oh, my gosh.
I do too. All right, everyone. This is from Anonymous because it's a federal worker. No pronouns given. Longtime listener, first-time writer. Good trouble. Right, everybody? Trump's gold card website has gone up, and I, for one, have a lot of questions, especially pertaining to the $1 million gift, such as who is receiving this gift. Luckily, they left the email address, everyone. It's goldcard@doc.gov, doc.gov, for support concerning the gold card. So if you're curious about this and where the gift's going, you can write in, attach to some bird watching inspired by your show. When my kids and I went on a vacation to DC last year, and man, there is all the energy in the world behind those double birds. You are raising them right, anonymous federal worker.
Yeah, I have questions too, Anonymous. If I email goldcard@doc.gov, I have a lot of questions. Like, can animals buy the gold card? Can you use monopoly money to buy the gold card? I have a lot of really, really important questions that I would love to take up somebody's time and energy with. So that's a really excellent, good trouble recommendation. And y'all, if you have any good trouble recommendations you want to send us, please do so along with your good news. Send it all to us. Again, it's dailybeanspod.com and click on contact. We're going to need it. Even though this administration's falling apart and the Republican Party is cracking, there's still bad news every day.
Oh, yeah.
We need to counter that with your good news. So again, send it to us. Do you have any final thoughts today, my friend?
Not today. Just everyone have a good beginning to your week.
Yeah. And if you get a chance, over on my Substack, MullerSheWrote.com, I've shared my latest video that, the Midas Touch Network so graciously gives me a platform to do. So if you want to watch that video, there's a lot of really interesting stuff, and I got receipts, and I'd be really appreciative if you gave it a gander. It's free to watch. So everybody, we will see you on Beanstalk, the new video podcast that you can catch at MSW Media YouTube channel. And we'll be back on yours tomorrow on the Beans. Until then, please take care of yourselves, take care of each other, take care of the planet, take care of your mental health, and take care of your family. I've been AG.
And I've been DG.
And them's the Beans.
The Daily Beans is written and executive produced by Allison Gill, with additional research and reporting by Dana Goldberg. Sound design and editing is by Desiree McFarlane, with art and web design by Joelle Reeder with Moxie Design Studios. Music for The Daily Beans is written and performed by They Might Be Giants, and the show is a proud member of the MSW Media Network, a collection of creator-owned podcasts dedicated to news, politics, and justice. For more information, please visit mswmedia.com.
MSW Media.